don't know. I think actually like the shifting perspectives that you are with certain characters in some episodes and other characters in other episodes, and depending on who you are and who the character is that's perceiving these odd events that are going on, they have a different take on what it could be. Somebody might see it as very much just the world of matter, an explainable thing, and someone else might see it as a miracle that's happening. So, I don't know. I feel like the different perceptions of reality is kind of like a cool thing about the show.
And to further that, even little bits like, what are your boundaries? You know, if there's a stranger in your house, like, it's not cool to spy on someone, but if they're in your house, is that like, where do your actual boundaries come? And dealing with such a huge stress, what becomes important, you know? And so, yeah, it's exactly as Lauren said, it's a very human story.
Luxuriously, as an actor, we were given 9 of the episodes up front, and then he was working on writing the 10th, and Tony Bascal wrote all of the words of this whole show. One writer wrote all of them. So we kind of could have a sense of where the characters were going, and we rehearsed and treated it like a play with 4 characters in one set, you know, and that was kind of cool about it.
But also what's lovely for us is, as Lauren very eloquently said before, that we all were playing our own story in a weird sort of way. It was that very much that thing where you're doing your story, and then when you see it all put together. When I watched episodes, because we've only seen 2 episodes, when I watched episode 1 and 2, a lot was revealed to me where I was like, oh, that's what's going on with them, or, you know, because you have to play your world to make it genuine and authentic. You have to do that. Sometimes it's not great to know the expanse of the whole thing and know everything, because there's a knowing in your performance, so you have to strip that away, which is just more work for yourself. So
there's something about being in a thriller, I think, that it's even more, it's like working in this medium is such a collaborative event, and there's something about this genre that's even more collaborative, because the music and the camera angles, and, you know, Knight is such a detail-oriented person. Everything is storyboarded, and so you know, in watching it, you see all of these parts of the whole coming together, and it's like, oh, that's what we were making, and here I was doing my channel, and everybody else is working on other channels, and it comes together. It's and of course that's the same with any film, but even more so, I think, with this kind of thing.
Dorothy is a successful journalist. She is a alpha female, or a type A personality. She's a very high-class, upper-crust kind of person, very tasteful, especially her taste in men.
Sean is a devoted husband, and I feel like we're in therapy. Sean's a devoted husband, and he's a chef, and just desperately trying to have some control over his life and in his home, and his world is like spinning out of control with all of these crazy things happening, and he's desperate to have some control and rein it all back in.
Well, Leanne is this kind of force. I think in Julian's eyes, probably a dark force that enters the house. And yeah, Julian can't work her out. And usually Julian he's from the kind of financial district. He always he's one of these guys who's always one step ahead. He thinks money is kind of the solution to everything, and has all these kind of tools to kind of manipulate people. But for some reason he cannot, and none of those things really work with Leanne. So he doesn't really understand her. And she is very mysterious and kind of, just very ambiguous, and you just don't know who or why she's the way she is.
That's good.
Yeah.
Julian works in the financial district. He's a very brash, bullish character. He is the brother to Lauren, brother-in-law to Toby. And he's sort of Leanne's, not rival, but they just see the situation very, very differently. And so he views Leanne as bad and trouble and is here for some sinister purpose, whereas she doesn't see it that way. So they butt heads quite often, but I think she actually really cares about him. He doesn't see it yet, but yeah, he's the comedic relief really in the show. Rupert is, and he drinks a lot. Julian drinks a lot. He's funny. He's ginger.
It's tricky, isn't it?
Right.
Reading the script, I couldn't really work him out. Like, it's this guy, and I think you do that with all the characters. You kind of question their motives and are they good people? But Julian is a tricky one because he's, yeah.
Is he a good person?
Well, you have to.
I think he is.
I think he is at the heart of it. I mean, it's all about love, really, and when it comes to Dorothy and why they decide to enable her in this kind of doll therapy, and it's all for the good of her. But he's got some interesting kind of opinions and ideas.
So, me and Knight have had a couple conversations about sort of the trajectory of what he can envision the whole thing being. But right now we have 10 episodes, and Julian is through those 10. I hope everyone will be able to get on board and figure that out with me. But yeah, she is incredibly mysterious, and you don't really know who she is or why she's there, or if she's good or if she's bad. And I think those are the big questions of the show. And so hopefully everyone will make their own mind up. I think it's going to be split. I think some people will think she's there for something and some people will think she's there for something else. And that's the point. I mean, we don't really want you to know anything about her. And whatever you do know, always question it.
So many.
So much. There's so much. I'm sure. There's so much. I mean, Night obviously is a massive pull. The writing is fantastic. I love that it's sort of a four-hander. Of course, there are people that do come in and out, and they are massive contributors to the show. But at the core of it, it's the four of us. And I actually didn't know who'd been cast. I didn't know who'd been cast yet. But the writing and the story, and it's such an amazing, different story.